Alright, how's it going? My name is Rogue. I have never made a video before, but I have noticed that a lot of people are like kind of getting into Destiny or like coming back to Destiny, especially with Into the Light and Final Shape coming up, and well, they're just kind of lost. Um, Honestly speaking, the game doesn't really do a whole good job explaining everything. There's a whole bunch of pop-ups that will just distract you, overwhelm people, and yeah, there are a couple guides online, I think, from different actual Destiny YouTubers or TikTokers, but I figured I'd just make this. So yeah, getting started here. Uh, when you first log into the game and select your character, assuming you've already done the tutorials, you'll start here. This is Orbit. You will see yourself up here. Anyone else that you're playing with or in the same lobby as will be right underneath you, which you can inspect them. A cool little thing that you can do is go over here to the vault, and you'll be able to see all the weapons that you have in your vault, which is like a storage space. You can have up to 600 things, and you can also put weapons in here. That's a newer feature. Um, right. Getting on into the character. This is your guy. You can just view him, you can spin him around and stuff. Getting into the very basics, your subclass here, you have the light and then the dark subclasses. The light ones are going to be your solar, arc, and void. These are like your basic ones. You can mess around with which ones you like. Solar's like mostly healing, exploding stuff, that sort of thing. If you go inside of it, you will have aspects, which these essentially just enhance your playstyle. They do different things for you, as well as fragments. You can have a number of fragments based on however many your aspects allow. Grenades, melees, jumps, class abilities. For hunters, you get dodges, warlocks get a rift, and titans get a barricade. And over here, you have your supers. Um, right. This all mainly just goes into build crafting. So as I mentioned before, this is mostly like healing, exploding stuff. Arc is electrocuting a bunch of things, moving faster, sometimes teleporting if you have that. Mess around with that. Void is debuffing stuff, making yourself and allies invisible, overshields, that sort of thing. Now these are all free. With the stasis sub and strand subclasses, these come with DLCs. So Stasis comes with Beyond Light, and Strand comes with um, Lightfall. So if you'd like either of these, you'd have to unfortunately purchase those DLCs and complete the campaigns on any difficulty. They are pretty fun, and then, I mean, personally speaking, I think that they're in need of a buff. However, still fun. They complete your character. Okay, getting into the weapons. You'll have a kinetic weapon, an energy weapon, and a heavy weapon. Kinetic weapons typically deal more damage to unshielded opponents. So, like, if there's no glow, then as the most basic way to put it, around an enemy, you just see a health bar. That's what you're probably going to want to use against them. You can use any of these at any point in time. Um, then energy weapons do more damage to shields. So, along with that, you'll see that there's a green marker here. That means that this weapon uses special ammo. Special ammo is a drop that enemies can give you. It'll be a green brick on the ground. Essentially, you can run out of this ammo. And when you do, you won't have it until you pick up one of those green bricks. Because of that, these types of weapons will hit harder typically than a primary weapon. So this will be like your shotguns, grenade launchers, fusions, and snipers. Now, a primary weapon, like this for example, um, you won't ever run out of reserves. They're infinite. You will have to, of course, reload your magazine, but these do less damage. However, they're reliable. And likewise, each of these have different perks on them that will feed into your different play styles, what you might want to do. There are different types of weapons for different scenarios, or you might just be more comfortable with one or the other. So Alright, getting into the power weapon now. This is going to be your main, like, DPS thing. And I'm begging you, please use the power weapon for DPS, not your primary weapon. This is going to hit hard. It's going to do the most damage. If you need to clear out just a wave of enemies, do a ton of damage to a boss, these are what you're going to use. So this is going to be your rocket launchers, your linear fusion rifles, grenade launchers, and swords, that sort of stuff. Now, there are two different colors here. I've got a purple here, and then a yellow weapon here. A yellow one is an exotic. You can only equip one of these at a time. So you can swap it out for like another one here, but if I try to equip, say, this, it won't do it. You can have as many purples as you want, or blues, which is the rarity below these. And if you switch this, then you can swap to this weapon over here. That's just because an exotic is typically a very powerful weapon, and a build tends to like revolve around it, utilize it in some sort of way. Yeah, that's pretty much it for weapons. These are going to be your main things for stunning champions, which occur in higher level content as well. Talk a little bit more about that when I get to the artifact. However, moving on to the armor, your armor works very similarly to the weapons. You will have different perks on them, which you can place once you get to a guardian rank. There are exotics and legendaries, different rarities. And again, you can only have one exotic equipped at a time. Now, your power level is going to be the average between all of your armor and all of your weapons. That's very important because in order to do some of the higher level content, like a day one raid or like a nightfall, you need to have this this number as high as possible. There are different ways to do that. Mainly, just when you're a low level, you can play the game. Basically, anything will get this number higher and will help you just get prepared for that later content. There are different videos online, I'm pretty sure, of people describing how you can do this effectively, but yeah, just as long as you're playing the game, getting like powerful engrams or primes, and that should do the trick. If you look onto this armor piece here, you can see that it has different stats. So like this one has a total of 90. The sum of all of these stats is going to be these numbers here. These correlate to your different abilities and your health, your movement, your regen. And this all feeds into how you want to play the game. You don't necessarily need to worry about these at a lower level. I'd focus on whichever one of these armor pieces has the biggest number. So like this is 1810, this one's 1800. As a new player, I'd recommend just using the 1810 one to get this number up. Yeah, so mobility is how fast you move, resil, how much health you have, how fast your health regens, grenade, super, and strength. Typically, I'd recommend buildings into resilience and discipline. However, you're free to do whatever you'd like. These are divided into tiers, so you can see here this is tier 10. That's the highest level. So every 10 points that are put into this, it goes up a tier, gives you basically either more or like a faster cooldown of it. So this will be a tier 6, and there is only so much you can do, and your subclass can also affect it. So you can see how there's minus 10 penalties based on my fragments. Yeah, you can put different mods on these, which I'd recommend building into synergy. And what I mean by that is, so like I have a solar siphon here, I've got solar equipped, and different solar weapons. It all just works together. You can use different things if you'd like. I could use a solar subclass with like an arc gun and change this around to like an arc siphon if I wanted to. But yeah, there are plenty of different builds online. You can mess around for yourself, figure out what works for you. Yeah, so going on over here into the artifact. This is a seasonal thing. It'll change every season, but the idea is the same. It's just a bunch of perks that you can select. a certain number of, and they'll enhance your playstyle. These are going to be the champion stunning things. So whichever ones of these you have selected will correspond to what you have here. So like if I have a hand cannon on, I now have an unstop hand cannon. Okay, going on over to the inventory. The main things here are going to be the seasonal things. So like for example, this offering, this is from Season of the Witch. You can use this in the seasonal activities. Raid banners, very important. These are going to essentially fill you and your team up on all of your ammo and your abilities in a raid, dungeon, all of that. These golf balls, pretty important for your gear. This is for masterworking armor, as well as buying exotics. This is for making weapons. This is another important thing if you're trying to buy exotics at a kiosk. You can get these from Xur, which is a vendor who comes out on the weekends. Another important thing are going to be these cores, since they're sticking around into the next DLC. Your engrams over here, you're going to have primarily exotics and then primes. Primes are going to give you a boost in your power level if you decode them at Rahul in the tower. And then exotics are good because, well, they give you an exotic armor piece. Glimmer is like your main source of money. It's sticking around. Legendary shards have been in the game, but they're leaving soon. So if you have them, you don't necessarily need to spend them on whatever, but because there's still a lot of very good things that you can use them for, like raid banners. So yeah, if you have them, I'd recommend exchanging them, but not too big of a deal. Also, if you're trying to buy weapons from anyone, I think they still require these. This is an in-game currency that you have to pay real money for, so like this is essentially $10 right here. This is an in-game currency which you can earn from challenges, Bright Dust. So you can do stuff, then you can go to the store and spend this, which this is more limited than the silver, but same principle. Modifications, there typically isn't too much in here. I'd recommend somehow trying to find the boss spec, the major spec, and then the minor spec, which I'm pretty sure you unlock those through the Guardian rank system. Oh, my bad. And then you can purchase them from a vendor in the tower. Settings, you can find what is comfortable for you. There is no really like right answer for this. The one thing that I am gonna show real quick is the push to talk. So you can turn this off and on from the social tab in case you ever need to talk to other people. And like if you're doing a raid or a dungeon, or just playing with people you don't know, because that's part of the wonders of this game. Okay, going over here to Journey. This is the progression ladder for this game, the Guardian ranks. You're going to start off at 1. This is basically just do the tutorial. From there, you're going to have an objective for each of these ranks. You do the objective, and then it'll progress you at the tower once you complete it. Once you get to about 6 or 7, it kind of just becomes more of a checklist. Stuff that you can do. Blue ones are different seasonal things, and the gold ones are stuff that sticks around. So like at the end of the season, these will stay completed, but the blue ones will reset. You'll have to do these again. Yeah, you can go as high as you want to or as low as you want. Typically, the game will progress you through 5 or 6, and then you'll be on your own to figure it out. Commendations come from activities. When you complete them, you'll be able to give these to your allies, and they'll be able to give them to you. It's basic. You can just give people whatever. It's meant to be like oh, this person was very thoughtful, or heroic, or joyful. If you're a rank 10 or 11, you will need the green and the blue commendation, so I'd recommend giving those to those players if you see them around at the end of an activity. Titles, these are just unique ways of saying, hey, I completed and mastered this aspect of the game. So, like for example, this is from the last season. You can complete each of these objectives, you'll get the title, which appears here, as well as over your head in game. So it's basically just a flex. Triumphs, you can see exactly what different niche challenges are. It also keeps track of the different title challenges. Seasonal challenges come with each season. Just bonus things you can do for experience and Bright Dust, the currency I mentioned earlier. If you complete all of them, it will give you a massive bundle of Bright Dust for like 3,000, which you can get like 2 armor sets, I think, with that much. Yeah. Going over to the collections tab, the main thing here is going to be this patterns and catalysts. This is where you're going to keep track of all the weapons that you can make yourself, which you can view, as well as your catalyst. A catalyst is going to be an exotic buff, essentially. So like, it just makes the weapon better. It'll have you have to unlock it first by getting it somewhere in the world, and then you have to complete something with it. So like for this one, you have to get multi-kills. Then it just makes the gun better, more enjoyable. And there's one for each of the exotics, I'm pretty sure, or at least most of them. Now, with the crafted weapons, if you get a red border weapon, I would hold off on dismantling it or, I guess, extracting the pattern until you unlock the Enclave, which I'll talk about in a little bit. The Enclave is where you craft the weapons. However, if you dismantle it prior to visiting the Enclave, it will not give you the progress, and you have to get the weapon again, which can suck depending on RNG. You can go into each of these tabs, check out the armor, the weapons that you've gotten, your exotics. Also, if you have unlocked an exotic, you can just pull the most basic version of it from here. It'll be at the lowest light level possible. However, it'll give it to you, and you'll be able to infuse it. Those are the important things. You can mess around in each of these tabs, but that's majority of the important things for this page. The clan, there's multiple different clans in the game. These are just player organized factions, I guess, where you can like find other people, you can play together. If you complete challenges together, then you can get unique rewards, level up your clan throughout the season, which corresponds to this clan banner. Not terribly important that you're in one, but it makes the game a little bit more enjoyable when you're playing with other people. Something that I forgot to mention is down here, there's some cosmetics. So you'll have your sparrow down here, your ship, an emblem, emotes. This is a appearance customization. Emotes are down here. Your finishers, when you get a enemy low enough health, you can hit your finisher button, which you can probably look up in your settings. And then you'll do a cool move, you'll kill it. Sometimes there are builds associated with finishers, so it might be nice to familiarize yourself with that if you haven't already. Okay. Checking over, seeing I got everything. I think so. Okay. Moving on to the director. This is where you're going to go to find all the different things that you can do in the game. So these are your ritual activities: Vanguard, Gambit, Crucible. You can complete challenges weekly for each of these, and they'll give you an exotic at the end. Vanguard, this is going to be your PvE. You'll be working with some other people, going through a mission, and it'll give you some nice loot at the end. This is the basic version. Harder and then hardest. Notice that for these levels, it requires a higher power level, so like this one's 1840, which is why that's important. Gambit, PvE, and PvP, kind of abandoned, but still enjoyable. I'd give it a shot if you haven't. Crucible, this is PvP. Multiple different game modes, you can try them out. Competitive, this stays around. 3v3 game mode. Trials of Osiris is like the competitive 3v3 game mode, where if you get 7 wins in a row, then you unlock very unique rewards. Yes, the timeline over here. You might get a quest associated with this. If you go in here, you can see a mission. You can select the mission. It'll give you some cool lore. You can also just kind of view what's happened in each of these expansions. Yeah. these 3 planets are going to be DLC planets. This is going to be Lightfall, Beyond Light, and Witch Queen. And going in here, this is the Enclave where you craft weapons. You need to buy the DLCs before you can really do much of anything on these planets, I'm pretty sure. This little symbol here is a lost sector. I think they changed it so that you can no longer get exotics from there. Or like there's a very low chance of getting them. But it's a good way to get the cores that I mentioned earlier. The Helm, this is going to be where you find all of your seasonal activity. There are different vendors here where you can get unique weapons. Not sure if that's sticking around for the foreseeable future, but it's good to know where that is. Okay, the map is associated with the planet that you're on. So like, if you're on Dreaming City, you will see the Dreaming City map, but if you're in orbit, there's no map. Quest, this is just stuff that you can do. You can organize what you're looking at. Bounties are basically just small side objectives you can pick up from vendors that will give you experience or some other rewards. You can see your seasonal challenges here as well. Season pass, free stuff on top, paid stuff on bottom. It's a pretty basic season pass for like 10 or 15 bucks, something like that. And the store, again, you have your in-game currency and then your paid currency. You can get the in-game currency stuff here on the bottom, as well as on this Bright Dust tab here. They rotate weekly, so there's different stuff in here. You just pop in, see if there's anything that you might want. If you've got the Bright Dust, go for it. If you want to spend the money on silver, it's up to you. Okay. The friends page. Now this is where you're gonna interact with other people to like join the fire team, or they join you. You can find your friends list here. From here, if you want to join someone, you click on them, just join or invite. You can also inspect them, so you can see their character. You can see their title, what they're rocking. Your clan will show up here as well. And there's a fire team finder. You can search to play with other people. So like if I want to do Grandmaster, there's a bunch of different people doing that. I'd select one of these to join, or I can make my own. Put different tags on it based on who I want to play with. This is still kind of in the early stages though, so it might be a little buggy. You don't really need anything with this tab. And this is your invitations. So this column is for your fire team finder, the thing I just showed you. Friend requests, this column, clan invites, and then your fire team invites. So if you invite someone to your game or someone invites you, this is where their thing's going to appear. And that should pretty much do it. I know it's a lot. Hopefully this broke it down fairly simply. But yeah, if there's anything I missed, or if anyone comes up with any questions or anything, feel free to leave a comment, and yeah, see ya.